What does the stereotypical high school or college classroom look like in terms of seating? I mean, if you could choose your seats, then I think it would look like most of the people in the classroom would be in the back, as far away as possible from the teacher. And then if you're late to the class, it's kind of like, ooh, all the good spots are taken, and now I need to sit close to the front. In almost every single class that I've been to, people always default to the back of the classroom. I think that there's 3 reasons. But essentially one. Sort of one fundamental and then 3 reasons stemming off of from that. The first is disinterest in the class, and therefore doing other things during the class. For example, this could be a student who is looking at their phone and doesn't want to be found out by the professor or teacher. Pretty simple. The second is a fear of confrontation or participation. Now, this could be a shy student who doesn't want to be called on to answer. Well, the good news, in college, no professor is going to force you to answer, to my knowledge. But at the same time, that is to your disadvantage. It's not like you can live without speaking to or confronting people. Moreover, people think less of you. People do. People automatically think less of you. The third is a social one, I think, and it's being the inverse of the good student. The stereotypical tryhard sits in the front of the classroom, and if socially you deem that kind of person uncool, then you'll naturally follow the social conventions that you used to, which means doing the opposite. Not being a good student, essentially. The thing is, are you cool for doing so? Like, are you really cool? Does anyone call you cool for sitting in the back of the room? I don't think so. I've yet to see, hear, or experience someone deemed cool for sitting in the back. And no one's gonna say it. No one's gonna tell you you're cool for sitting in the back. Rather, no one's gonna say anything about it, or about you. At least in the front. You have the potential to be noticed. I think that all 3 of these is just a matter of comfort. Sitting back is comfortable. You have less responsibility because the teacher can't see what you're doing plainly. You're hiding yourself, afraid of exposing yourself, afraid of being wrong, afraid of not being perfect. Those 2 can be synonymous sometimes. So, why should you sit in the front? To take responsibility. One of the hardest things to do is to take responsibility for yourself. It's much easier for another person to take responsibility for your actions, like every parent does. and will continue to do until the child can take responsibility for their own actions. It's when a child can take responsibility for themselves, their actions, and the consequences of their actions, that they are no longer a child, is what I think. And I, for one, am still a child. I am leeching off of what my parents are providing me. By taking responsibility, you're forced to be a good student. Unless you want the professor to know you're not paying attention. Why should you want to be forced to be a good student? And this is something my mom keeps telling me is, it's for your benefit. It's not for mine. And it's really annoying because she's right. On to letting the professor know that you're not paying attention. This can be a good thing or a bad thing. For the first, if it's a good thing, it tells the professor that you're bored and they should improve. At the same time, it's also a bad thing because it's a signal telling you that you should change. And I think that, for the most part, if everyone just changed themselves only, the world will be a better place. There's a lot of projection onto other people, ignorance of your own flaws. And it's standing up to your shadow, as Young put it. Perhaps I'm coping, just trying to get other people to join me, sit in the front, or at least near it. But I do believe that there's a difference between people who sit in the front and people who sit in the back. You may not be a better student for sitting in the front, is from my personal experience. But you're a better person. I do think you are a better person for sitting in the front. You're closer to being an adult.